Good morning, everyone. Morning, Mike. All hail Allah. Lena, girl, good morning. Dawn, Cece, Kiki, Brizzy, good morning. Good morning, Soccer Mama 1. Well, I had a strange week, but a good week. Faithful 1, good morning. I think somehow my chair's got switched. This one doesn't recline like the other one does. Good morning, Smith Shoes. Carla, still here. Good morning. Cheryl Lynn, good morning. I hope you are all doing well. Lisa Gardner, hi there. Leslie, good morning. Peggy Sue, good morning. You like the wood background, Dr. Mom 1? Well, this is real. This is not a green screen. This is the background now. We're getting there. It's taking a lot of work. This wall had sheetrock on it, and we had to tear all of it out, so I had to have use a green screen for a couple weeks. But my friend was able to come back into town and help me finish up the electrical. So now I have an electrical plug-in over here, and then one over on that side of the table, and then one down farther on the wall. We got the lights in. We got the electrical, all of it fixed, so it won't keep on tripping the circuit every time I turn on some other device in this place. The people who wired what used to be a garage, it's not going to ever be a garage again because, well, it only has a side door, and the one garage door that's left is going to be a sliding glass door. We have to put that in still, but we have that's sitting in the other garage. So I'm getting there, taking some time, but I appreciate everybody bearing with me while everything was torn apart. Good morning, Irish Eyes. Leave it to Beaver. Profesh. Yeah. I don't know about professional, but I mean, this is probably about as professional as I'm going to get. Rochelle, morning. Blue Bell, great to see you, Will. Good morning. Good morning to you, too. Miss Mick Jagger, good morning. Great look. The walls, well, it's getting there. I still got a lot more work to do. We got three out of 4 walls done. Got this one, the far, so what would be my right side, which is that way. My right side, that wall's done. So these 2 walls are done, and the far wall is done. And then next, we're tackling where the garage doors used to be. We took out one and we closed it in. So later on today, we're going to finish up the siding, so it's not going to look like there was ever a garage door there. and then finish painting and sealing all that off. And then the other door is coming out completely, and then we're putting in a sliding glass door. And then the next thing after that is skylights. And so I don't know if everybody's really aware of this, but I'm cheap. And the sliding glass door, the skylights, the walls, the wood, a lot of the stuff came from Habitat for Humanity's second use store. So it was installed in another application, either another house, or it was its construction overstock. So, and then the Habitat for Humanity sells it off to fund their programs. They run a retail outlet store here locally. So like the sliding glass door, you go to like Home Depot or someplace like that, it easily costs you, $300-400 for it. I pay $38. That's including tax for a sliding glass door, and it's brand new. They was put into a demo, like a model home for a new development, and then when they went to go sell that, the people didn't like that door, so they took it out, and I bought it for $38. So I saved myself $300+ on the door. The skylights were never used; they were extras. And I got 4 of them, so they're going to go above the studio space here where I record. So we got natural light that comes in. Yeah, I do too, Dardine. But behind that, so there's we did spray in insulation to so it's not so it's echoey in here, and then sheetrock, and then the wood paneling. So stuff's come a long ways, and this stuff all interlocks. So this board, and it's got a little groove that's kind of like a V, and the other board slides into it, so it all interlocks together. So you don't have to use like a million nails to put it all together. Pretty cool. I never even knew this stuff existed until my friend showed it to me. I have a friend who owns a construction and remodeling company. And he's been kind of out of work because, what's been going on in the world. Being cheap isn't an issue, no. So my total budget for the complete remodel of this entire space was just under $700. And I've spent about 280 of that so far. Just little things that come, plus or minus like in my budget. I always figured in the overrun, which in the long run, this is a livable space, and if I ever sell the home, somebody could use this as like a mother-in-law's quarters. The only thing it's missing is a kitchen, because it already has like a half bath, or is it called a 3/4 bath? It's got a shower stall, a toilet, and a sink. That's it. It doesn't have a bathtub. So I think it's called 3/4 bathroom. And then it'll be completely closed off, so it's a separate building from the actual house. Good morning, Gingerlocks, Mom. You love the Habitat for Humanity stores, Leslie. Good morning. No, it's Leslie. They're wood. So it's insulation, sheetrock, and then wood, which really helps with the R value, for insulation wise. Catherine Maloney, good morning from Ireland. Dardine Creek, good morning. Make sure you seal the skylight really well so they don't leak on your equipment. Oh, I'm not going to install them, Dardine. I'm going to have my friend who's been in the construction remodeling business for close to 25 years. He'll actually install them. I wouldn't know how to even start. I try to help as much as I can, um, with the project, and likewise, I'm not paying, my friend I have another friend who's an electrician. He did all the electrical, redid all the electrical. We gutted all the electrical out of this space, and he completely rewired it. The only thing I had to pay for it was just the supplies. I didn't have to pay him because we do a barter system. All me and my friends do. So for him, he needed somebody who could help him relocate from here to all the way across the state. I just happen to have another friend who has a moving company. Well, he did, but he still has 2 trucks left. Excuse me. So I borrowed and made a deal with my other friend for his moving truck. I then helped the friend who rewired all this. I helped him move all of his belongings from here to the other side of the state, which is about 450 miles, somewhere in there, close to his new home. And then he got so he then came back and did the electrical for the truck. The friend who had the truck, I helped him redo the motor for his car, because he's not a very good auto mechanic, where I have that skill. And so I did that in exchange for using his rental, his truck. And my other friend who owns a construction company, for for doing all this work here, helping me with the insulation and the skylights and the sliding glass door. I'm doing the videography and photography for his wedding. So we pay for the supplies, but we don't pay each other like, here's money for, your work. It works out that way the best. We all rely on each other to get things done. We can get more things done that way. Excuse me. Well, thank you, Leslie. Carpe diem, like, share, sub. Diana, good morning. Blue Mermaid, good morning. Chrissy, good morning. Molly, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Kevin Brand, your dad was born in 1938. Bargain shopper. Yeah. I get a lot of slack from people. They're like, well, why don't you pay your friends to do this work? It's a lot of labor intensive to do all this stuff. Well, it's labor intensive to rebuild a motor from scratch. And I know how to do that. And I was able to help him fix his car. I mean, we took the motor out of the car, and I did the entire thing, except for I needed a little bit of help in reinstalling the motor and the transmission, because it's hard to get it in there with the cherry picker. But bargaining is a way of life in your little small county. Yeah, it definitely pays off. Okay, I'm gonna try this again. I know it's a Dune reference. Shinog. Probably still wrong. Good morning. How's the weather up here in the Pacific Northwest? Let's see. I haven't looked yet today. Hopefully it's going to be good. Well, answer your question. It's going to be 73 degrees with a 2% chance of rain and winds of gusts of 4 miles an hour. Love the Finches as well. Thank you. Yeah. Where I live, it's not very scenic. That's the best way to put it. I live in what's called a high desert plateau. Um, there are trees around here, but the only trees that are anywhere around here are either they're right next to the river, or they've been purposefully planted here. I mean, it's a very rich soil for farming, a lot of farming, but most of this area is controlled by the U.S. government. So there's not much to see around here. Historical wise, this is where all the plutonium for the nuclear bombs that we dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki came from here. It was part of the bomb project. If it wasn't for this area having absolutely nothing and never having severe weather, there'd probably be about 100 people who live here. But instead, there's close to, I want to probably say 170,000. Morning, Red Rum. Do all men in your area know how to fix cars? My brother-in-law is a head mechanic. No, Chrissy, not everyone. I've got friends who don't even know how to change the oil in their car. And then again, most newer cars, you can't change the oil in. My wife's car, I'm not joking. You can't check the water. You can't add oil. You can't do nothing. You have to go to an actual dealer or, someplace to actually have it done. You can't check the transmission fluid, nothing on her new car. You can add, there is one little thing where you can put windshield wiper fluid in, and that's it. Otherwise, there's no way to even add it or check it. It's all computerized in her car. Sucks. But yeah, I have a lot of friends who don't know how to even check the oil or change the oil in their cars. Oh, CC's back. Good morning again. Hope you're doing well, CC. Kiki Mercer, I learned how to do oil changes and tire changes and other simple stuff on cars. Yeah, that's cool. I taught my daughter when she was younger. She was a teenager. I taught her how to change a tire, make sure that she always has an emergency kit in her car, and how to change and check the oil in her car. She's actually very proficient at a lot of it. So, I mean, I think everybody could learn, a lot about basic maintenance of vehicles. You don't necessarily have to go to a shop unless you buy a newer car like my wife's, and then you're just stuck. There's no way to do anything. More MML. Excuse me. Jill K. Any thoughts on the morphine case? I'm not familiar with that case at all. Sorry, Jill. I've had to learn how to check oil, etc., since my husband died. He used to be in the car trade. I know there's no better time to learn than now. For everybody out there who doesn't know how to do it. Cece, I'm going to French braid my hair really quickly, but I'll be listening. I know what French braid is, at least the term, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. I've never French braided my daughter's hair. I used to braid it. Used to braid it when because I used to get her ready for school in the morning when she was in elementary school. By the time she got into middle school and high school, she didn't want dad to help her too much. That and she shaved all her hair off because she wanted to look like her auntie. It's very, very good. Yeah, Kiki. Mel Mel, my son blew a head gasket. He had been throwing coolant in, but forgot one time. Mm. Oh, see, Kiki, my older brother said girls need to know, so if they break down and they're alone, they can fix it and get up out of where there before a bad man comes along. Along with the showing my and teaching my daughter, basic maintenance, and how to change a tire, check oil and stuff like that. I also made sure she understood that there are certain things that you need to keep in your car besides that, in case you get stranded. The backup battery in case like the car dies and it's unable to charge your phone. Road flares, triangles, emergency blanket, bottled water, stuff like that. I mean, we don't live in the mountains or anything like that, but still, it's important. You never know when you're going to need it. Rather have it than not. Yeah, CC, I can braid hair. My wife taught me how to do it, how to braid hair. Well, I used to braid my daughters. I used to put it in like Pippi Longstocking, braids on the side of her head. She thought that was the funniest thing. Or just braid it in one long braid in the back. But I think it was, I want to say middle school, first year or second year of middle school. She cut her hair off it was the only way to save it. She did it herself. She cut all her hair off. And then we ended up having to shave her head to correct it. So she looked like Sinead O'Connor for about 6 months. Didn't even yell when it was done. Brought it home a tow truck because he felt bad enough. Plait or braid? I don't know what a plait is, Mel. Sunny Sandy, good morning. I just bought a new car and can't do anything. Didn't tell me that when I bought it. Yeah, my wife's car. You can't do anything on it at all, and it actually voids for her warranty. It voids the powertrain warranty if we take it anywhere else and actually have them do anything on it. So we have to take it, at least for the first 100,000 miles, we have to take it to the actual dealership to have the oil changed or, to have the systems flush or anything on it. It happens, Mel. I've never blown up a motor in a car, but I've come damn close. Miss Jagger, the CCI wore French braids at your wedding. That's cool. My dad cut a big chunk out of the back of her when she was about 8. Yeah, my daughter wanted to cut her hair. Her aunt has really hair's probably about maybe 2 inches in length. And she was cutting it. She was doing a really good job. She got one side of it really good, and then the other side of it, she just butchered. In areas where it was, we took her to a friend of ours, who actually has a salon. We're like, you could have come here and got your hair cut for free. And she's like, but I wanted to do it. And I'm like, okay. And it was either everything got cut down to an inch, and then she would have had 2 bald spots on the back of her head, or shave it all off. And she said, no, shave it all off. Kali, do you pronounce it Kali? You blew up the rotary motor in your Mazda RX-8 junk cars. That would be a Mazda. Would that be a Winkle? A Winkle motor. 1 o'clock in the morning and you cannot sleep, Brizzy? Yeah, well, depending on where I guess you are in Australia, Mel, it's the same time there for her. Yeah, well, they figured that it's just another way for them to make money by making a car so you can't do any maintenance on it at all. But I mean, every time you get in a car, it tells you everything about the car. It tells you the tire pressure. It tells you how much fluid is in the windshield washer. It tells you everything about the car. I mean, when I was younger, if you were lucky if you got a car with an oil temperature gauge, voltage, gauge on it. Now, I mean, her car gets in and it'll either tell it to you, verbally, or it actually has it on the screen where you can go through and it can tell you how many miles you have until, you need to change your oil, or how many more miles you have, on the gas that you have in the car. See my TU license to dance. I blew up 2 cars when you're 18 and again at 59. Well, good morning, by the way. Welcome to the stream. It's 11:15 p.m. for you, Mel. When do we get to see the pink hair, Mel? Wow, you remember having to pull the choke to start the car. I don't think I ever had to pull a choke to start a car. I have to think though. Well, I've never had a car that you had to pull the choke on. I was trying to think that, I had a 1920s Buick. That was, I didn't have a choke on that one either. Well, I'm sure there were quite a few different cars and makes that had them. My wife and her mother-in-law, they've always had Volkswagen, really old Volkswagens, like 40s, 50s, and 60s Volkswagens. I don't think they had chokes in those though. I mean, she's got a 65 Volkswagen now, but I'm pretty sure there's not a choke in that one either. My GF gave herself a COVID-19 home haircut. She says she hates it and looks like Mia Farrow now, Rosemary's Baby. That was kind of all right. So about the length of hair and that's close to what my daughter did, haircut wise, because her aunt had always had like really short hair, and there was a time in my daughter's life where she really idolized her aunt, so she decided she wanted to cut her hair, so she tried to. Debbie, good morning. Sorry I'm late. Was up all night, not able to sleep, so I got up a little late. Hope everyone's right. Welcome to the stream, Debbie. I'm sorry you didn't get much sleep last night. Hopefully, maybe you can take a nap today or something. Yeah, Chrissy, my wife's new car. You have to have the key in what's called in proximity of the actual car itself. You don't even have to be in the car. I could have the key and be standing outside the car, and my wife can be in the car, and she pushes the start button, and it starts. Yeah, that actually was something that my wife actually learned the hard way. because she would take the key, and instead of having it in her hand, she'd have it in her purse, and she'd put it in the I guess like the trunk area. And Carpe Diem, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. But she'd have it, so it'd be in the backpack of the car. She'd get in, she just got used to pushing the button and starting it. And then she'd get out and she'd be like, okay, where's the key? Leanne, cut my own hair during the quarantine and it turned out okay. I need a barber. I'm still waiting. They're gonna in my local area, the county and is going to petition the governor to reopen or move to the next stage next week. And if they approve it, then maybe we'll get barbers back open. What is a choke, Sunny Sandy? What a choke does on a motor is it restricts the airflow into the combustion chamber on a gas aspirate, or carbureted aspirated motor. I mean, you could have a choke on an electronic ignition, but I don't think there is. Emily, your landlady has a Lexus, and you like that? Lexus are okay. I think they're overpriced. I mean, you're basically buying, a fancier Toyota. That's all Lexus is. But I mean, to each their own. Some people like them, some people don't. I just never seen a Lexus that I personally like. But if you like it, that's cool. No salons open there, Emily, until July 8th in Michigan. Oh, I can't go that long. I will. The salons are open a state away from me, which would be about 110, 115 miles drive to there. But I will do that before I have to wait until July to get my hair cut. I will go nuts. Ooh, Zap, you had a Corvette once? I've never owned a Corvette. Never really wanted one. See my TU license to dance. Only choke I use is on a lawnmower. Yeah. Lawnmower, and my friend has an old international backhoe, and I know that has a choke. Well, there's no reason to be sorry, Emily. I was just saying that some people like Lexuses and some people don't. It's keyless entry and start. That's cool. Played ZZ Top, and I thought it was cool driving it. Happy Days. Oh, wow. It was 110 degrees in Louisiana yesterday. That's not fair. Yeah, but Emily, those Ford Fairlanes, if you can find one now, they're worth a pretty good sum of money if you can find them, even as basic transportation. I never owned a Corvette to that, but the only sports car I've ever owned was I had a limited edition Ford Mustang. And I got into way too much trouble with that car. Too many tickets. I was young and dumb and had nothing but money to burn, I guess. If wish I had it all back now. Is there a documentary on ZZ Top on Netflix? I found that a lot of times, what's on Netflix here in my area is not necessarily showing on Netflix in like the East Coast or in Midwest. But it's cool though. Sharp Dress Band. I always liked that song. Used to own a cute kit car, a Volkswagen motor chassis with a Model T looking body. That's cool. That is cool as heck. A lot around here, a lot of people buy Volkswagens up and then they turn them into dune buggies, or they add the front ends on them that look like a Rolls Royce. See a lot of those. A 1974 Corvette Stingray with T-tops. That's cool. I actually had a Trans Am once too, but I wouldn't call that much of a sports car. I guess it was Pontiac's version of a sports car, but I was 17. I mean, the car did fly. It did get up and go. It was 111 in Arizona, but no humidity, sunny, sandy. Now those temperatures are coming here. The average temperature normally here where I live in the summertime is right around 90 to 110. That's the normal temperature in the summertime. Miss Jagger, my boyfriend lost his license and gave it to me. Loved everything but the color. I don't understanding that the reference there. Lost a lot here. Boyfriend lost his license. Okay. We used to have to drive it with the window open in the winter to prevent the carbon monoxide poisoning. Wow. You think you'd want to fix that? I actually had a car like that though. It was a GMC Gremlin, and it didn't matter how much work we put into that stupid thing. You could never get the exhaust leaks fixed. It was like you'd fix them, and then a week later, the damn things would break again. The car that thing was going to kill me. I knew it was. Eventually, one of us was going to die. I sold it to a guy, and he still has it sitting in his backyard, probably about 2 miles from my house. Just sitting there. I drive by it all the time, just sitting there, rotting away. You love your Mini? Never owned a Mini. Oh. Hillary Jane, afternoon. Got a live, yeah. Well, welcome to the stream, Hillary Jane. Hit the like button. Thank you, Cement Shoes. Orchid, Mama, good morning. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Corvair. I owned a 1964 Corvair Monza Spider, 2-door hardtop. I bought it off my sister. It had the 4 carburetors in it, and that thing drove like, wow. That thing was just dangerous as hell. It had way more power than it ever needed to have in a car. But I mean, I loved that car, but we could never get, it didn't matter what we did. And me and my friends were mechanics, we took it to another mechanic, and we could never get all 4 carburetors to work correctly. And finally I ended up selling it to a friend of mine who owns a garage, and he had it until he passed away. But he ended up taking it and converting it from 4 carburetors to 2. So I drove an AMC Pacer, Wayne's World, grew pot in the back. Cool. CC, you want an old Volkswagen van, like a 16 window? That'd be cool. My neighbor across the street well, it's across the street and a little ways down, but he has Volkswagen Fastbacks. Ours was a 4-door, but the carbon monoxide was a big problem. Start of many auto safety regulations. You know, Ralph Nader pretty much killed the Corvair with his book Unsafe at Any Speed. I mean, it was a fun car. Don't get me wrong. I mean, weight distribution was a huge issue because you had that heavy motor in the back, and the only thing in the front was the gas tank. Unless you had a full tank of gas, that back end on that car would get squirrely if you hit the gas on it. What's a fastback? Volkswagen Fastback, it's what they're commonly called. And so the car, 2-door, and then the back end slopes off. So there's a Fastback, the Karmann Ghia, there's the Notchback, then there's the Bug, the van, and the Thing. I'm missing one. I know I am. I know there were 7. That's only 6. Notchback. Oh, wagon. Good morning, Franny. Sorry. Good morning, Franny. My first car was a 1966 Impala convertible, red and white, new top and red leather interior. That sounds nice. Bet you wish you had that today. My first boyfriend had a Capri. My first car was a 1965 Buick Wildcat. It was a freaking tank. It cost me $50 to drive it to the gas station and $50 to drive it home. That thing was, my grandfather gave it to me. It was my first car ever. It had a huge dent in the back rear end by the trunk. And like a dumb teenager, I thought I could just crawl into the trunk and I can kick that thing out. Thing was built with the leftover steel from the ship industry. It was a tank, but you could put easily seating in the car 8 people for the front and back seat. Do I have a pic of your old car? Which one, Cement Shoes? Of my Corvair? No, I don't have it. So about 8 years ago, I think it was now, my mom used to keep these extensive photo albums of everything. She had photo albums of just the sunset, photo albums of me and my siblings all growing up, and then cars that we all had, here and there. But I gave all of the photo albums to my older sister who lives in Minnesota. She has them all. Oh, the Buick Wildcat? No, I don't have pictures of that. Unfortunately, when I moved out here to where I am now in Washington State, I parked that car in my grandmother's garage. Another grandmother that would be my mother's biological mother, that side of the family. I parked it in her garage, and somewhere in like the 20-year period, they never told me about it, but the garage collapsed in during a snowstorm and crushed the entire car. And then they ended up junking it. I went back there on vacation and I stopped in at my grandmother's house, and I'm like, what the hell's the garage? Where's my car? And they're like, oh, we got rid of it years ago. The garage fell in. They showed me pictures of the entire thing. Found it, all the cinder block walls and regular garage roof. And when the garage fell in, the roof caved in, and the one cinder block wall fell in on the car and crushed it flat. I had it sitting in there up on blocks, so the tires weren't touching the ground. It didn't have like a regular concrete floor in the garage. It was just dirt, but didn't help. When it fell, it fell. Good morning, Quill. My dad has two old classic cars. He has a 67 Mercury Cougar GT and a 66 SS55. Both are sweet cars. 67 Mercury Cougar GT. I think I have a mental picture of what that looks like, the body style. That'd be a great car to have. Your favorite car was a 1969 Buick Cutlass. Drove it to Michigan, from Michigan to Oregon when I moved out there. I've owned a lot of cars in my life, but I don't know. Do I have a favorite of all the cars that I've ever owned? I don't think I have. I mean, I've owned a lot, and I'll probably end up buying a lot more. I think the one vehicle that I own currently still that I appreciate the most is my 1969 Ford F100. Now, I bought that truck myself. I was busted broke when I bought it. I mean, I didn't have two nickels to rub together, but I needed transportation to get back and forth to work. And I bought it off this lady who wanted to junk it just because the hood wouldn't open. She couldn't get in it to fix what was wrong with the truck. I bought it off of her, I think, for $300. And I knew I could scrap it for $500 because, the weight of the truck. I got it home. I had a buddy who at the time worked for a towing company, and he towed it back to my house, dropped it off in my driveway, and within an hour, I had gotten the hood open, and the only thing that was wrong with it was the battery was dead. Extremely lucky, and then I spent years restoring that truck back to its former glory itself. I still have it to this day. It's out in my driveway. I don't drive it as much as I do my my Dodge truck. I drive my Dodge 1500 most days. This is so random. My daughter asked me this morning which was my favorite car I ever had. It's a good question. Franny's first car was a red 1969 Jeep Commando. That's cool. I've never owned a Jeep Commando. I've owned a couple Wagoneers over the years, but later ones. I think they were like 82, 83, 1982, 83, somewhere in there. My mom had a Delta 88, and the car had the most comfortable plush seats. Drove like a dream over bumps, just sailed over them. Yeah, that's a big old car, a Delta 88. Worth a ton of money. You can find one in good shape today. One without rust. Worth a lot of money. See my TU license to dance. My second car was a 1968 El Camino, pretty mint green, yet had the hardest clutch for me. The ex wanted it. I've never owned an El Camino or a Ranchero. I've never owned either one of the two. But I've had a couple friends who had Rancheros. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head who's had an El Camino. I know people who have them now, but not back when I was younger. Brenny, your brother had a 72 Lincoln Mark V. My father-in-law he's looking for an older Cadillac. He wants a Cadillac DeVille hardtop for some reason because, well, I guess he just has money to burn. He has a cherried out Chevelle that he never drives. Well, I shouldn't say never. I mean, he does drive it up onto the trailer and then off of the trailer when he takes it to car shows. But I don't know what year of Chevelle it is. It's a two-door hardtop. It's a blue, about the color of that flag, with white interior. He's spending an ungodly amount of money restoring that car, but that's his baby. You know, there's a couple of Volkswagen Bugs, older ones that don't even have turn signals. They have the flags stick out for turn signals. But and then he's got a whole bunch of Subaru Foresters. And I wanted old slope back Seville. I had a lime green Dodge Charger that I loved. Didn't know the car was being held together by Bondo. The rest of his history fell apart. That was in Minnesota. Yeah. So the Buick Wildcat that I had parked at my grandmother's home in Little Falls, Minnesota. She still lives. Well, her home is still there, but she doesn't live there anymore. But because my grandmother's in hospice in St. Cloud. But Bondo, the bane of car guys. My grandparents had a 64 Cadillac with those fins in the back. When they would go to bed, I would sneak out and drive around town at night. Oh boy, Deb. I did hit the like button coming in. Thank you. I don't understand what Bloomberg. When it comes to my grandmother, she's been in hospice care for 4 years. I thought hospice care was normally for end of life care, but apparently she's, a feisty old lady, and she's just going to keep on, doing what she wants to do. She doesn't seem to have changed much in her life except for where she's living. I've had a lot of cars. I've probably had 30 in my lifetime. That is a lot of cars, Franny. I wouldn't even know how, if I had to put a number on how many cars and trucks that I've owned over my lifetime, it's well excess of 30. I mean, I got 6 right now. And we drive 3. My wife is, I've got one car, a Chevy Aveo that you could probably pick up for like $1,000, a really good one. A really good, one is in really decent shape. Somebody's really taken care of. You can pick up for like $1,000. I have driven that little Chevy Aveo across the United States to the East Coast, back like multiple times. It gets hella great gas mileage, uncomfortable as hell to actually be in because the seats are like rocks. But I mean, the only reason why I keep that car is because, well, it gets me around. And when I go out of town for golf tournaments, I can put my golf clubs in the back seat, and it takes up the entire back seat. You can't put anything else in there. But, oh, man. And then I've got a Chevy, the Ford Escape I need to get rid of. I said, nobody's even driven it in over a year, and it's got a full tank of gas and brand new tires on it. I just never drive it. Longbeard, good morning. Terry Furman, good morning. And Paula, my late husband used to throw me a bunch of keys and tell me which car I had that day. He had his own car business. That's cool. That is cool. I've got a key ring in the house that has all these keys on it that are just leftovers from all the different vehicles that I've owned over the years. Spare keys for each and every one of them. I don't know why I keep it. I'm on my second car, a Wow's green Fiesta, and now a candy blue Focus hatchback. I'm boring. Nothing boring about that. Cars are not necessarily something for everybody. Cars to one person may be basic transportation, to another they may be an art form, to another they're just they're more than, they may have personalities, and people name them. There's all different levels when it comes to cars. Damn, just got notification that today is my uncle's birthday. Not Wow's, but 2012. Okay. I missed one there. A comment somewhere. I'll scroll up. When my grandfather turned 80, he got a yellow Mustang, and last year he turned 92 and bought a boat. It scares me. The happiest day of any boat owner's life is the day that they buy it and the day that they sell it. Those are the two happiest days. Only had three cars: a maroon Ford Escort, a white Mercury, and a silver Jeep Liberty. I'm at my happiest driving down country lanes, sun shining, and music up loud. Cement Shoes says wishes they in that vintage 1930s Jaguar, like in the movie Cruel Intentions. That'd be nice. That when I was in high school, sorry. When I was in high school, me and my friend out in front of his mom's house in like I wouldn't call it a barn, lean-to, whatever, but it's where they stored hay for all the animals. We used to, there was an old car that used to be in there, and we had no idea what it was. And we used to go out and and tinker with it every once in a while. And Mom said, if you can ever get it running, you guys can drive it around. We didn't have any licenses or anything at all, and we finally got that thing going. We had no idea what it was. Then we drove it to the store one time, and turns out that it was some rare vintage Ferrari. She bought it off of some guy at an estate sale and had it out there in this barn. It was a convertible two-seat, like older Ferrari. I think it was like 1950s Ferrari. But we finally got it running, and then she sold it. But we got stopped at one time that we finally got the damn thing running. Not that we should have been in that car anyways, because the tires were all dry rotted and it was unsafe to be on the road. Faithful one, your dream car is a Camry? Well, hopefully your dream will come true. Good morning, Jamie. Racing Stripes. Pantera. Yeah, my buddy had a yellow Pantera. They're a weird car. Yellow with black interior Pantera. Remember that thing, because that's not exact. You don't, where I live, you don't want to have a car with black interior or dark gray interior in the summertime. I mean, it's already 110 outside. Leave the windows down for a half an hour just before you can get in. Men's shoes, 44 and ready to hit the floor. Bye, Emily. Longbeard is thinking about wrapping his vet. Just not sure design yet. My friend had, he bought a brand new Camaro. Well, first he had a Dodge Charger, and then he bought a brand new 2020 Camaro, and the Charger he had wrapped with Seahawks, design all around it. And this one he's gonna have wrapped with digital camo, the Camaro. I'm like, okay. I've seen it done on 4-wheel, off-road vehicles. I've seen it done on that, but just I'm not sure if I would do it with a brand new Camaro. But to each their own. At least we didn't miss the 80s. Cement on 49, I feel that's way also pain sucks. You're only 49, faithful one? Well, I thought you were and I'm sorry for this, but I thought you were older than that. I will be 51 myself. Let's see, in 13 days. Emily, 65 and still alive. Just turned 49 in April. Well, happy belated birthday, faithful one. Franny wants to wrap her longboat, her truck. I want to wrap her camper and truck. I swear I can read. My fibromyalgia is in full flare today. Pain sucks. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Emily. Chrissy will be 37 in 15 days. In case I miss it, Chrissy, happy birthday. That makes you a Gemini, just like me. Some early 20s people were making fun of me for being old at work. They were practically in tears after I told them about missing the 80s. I'm evil. I don't think I'd want to miss the 80s. There were a lot of good things that happened in the 80s. Wrap is a lot cheaper than paint. When it gets old, you just peel it off. No, that's true. I mean, that's why my friend, he wrapped his Charger first place because it protects the paint. And, like you said, it's easy to take off once you get sick of it, and you can change the design. Good morning, Queen C. I got my 86 IROC. My dad has a 55 Chevy fully restored and a 74 Vet. He should have kept the other Vet last year with metal bumpers. He retired from GM. Wish I still had the 67 Firebird. That's cool. I wish I had a 67 Firebird. Sorry for what, Queen C? I don't know what you need to be sorry for. I tested the 5-star safety rating on the Ford Windstar, T-boned an older Cadillac and blew a stop sign. Started braking at 55. Ow. Well, I'm glad the 5-star rating came in handy. Don't think I would want to try it. Huh. They card you at any age in California? I remember when I lived in San Diego and I had first moved there, and I walked into a 7-Eleven store. It blew me away. You could buy a bottle of Jack Daniels and a Slurpee at the same time. Because where I live here, you have to go to 2 separate locations. To buy, you can buy a Slurpee at 7-Eleven, but you can't buy anything except for beer there. And I've been back east where you have to go to a separate store to buy beer. You can't even buy it at a convenience store. Just on to different stuff now. You're a Pisces? That's cool. They card you at Target. My local Target, the only thing we don't have a super Target here. Well, they did, but they closed it. They closed it and got rid of the grocery part of it. So now it's just like a regular Target, but expanded. They do have some groceries, just it's not fresh produce and all that is all gone. But the Target here is they sell wine. I don't know if they sell beer or not. Of course, I never go there looking for it either, so they might. Blue Mermaid did all her drinking in the 80s. Franny, here right now because of the COVID, they're doing drive up liquor sales. Yeah, I can call the local bar and they'll bring out to go orders of beer and liquor. You can call the liquor store and prepay over the phone, and you can't go inside the liquor stores themselves, but then they bring the liquor out to you. Of course, they check your ID and everything else when they bring it out to you. But in Alaska, they had drive-up liquor stores. Blue Bell. Sorry I missed you there. Good morning. You can't drink anymore because of medication. I'm sorry about that. Nothing like a good glass of wine. But, alcohol's not for everyone. Here in Toronto, Canada, we can go into a liquor store at any time. We also sell it in home grocery stores. Good morning, Savage Laura. What was the craziest thing you did in the 80s, Will? The craziest thing. Wow. I'd have to think about that one, Queen C. Craziest thing. I've done a lot of crazy things in my life. Okay. This is probably not the craziest thing, but one of the craziest things I ever did was I was living in Minneapolis at the time, and I fell asleep in my friend's van, not realizing that they had a series of shows that they were doing. And when I woke up, I was in Chicago, and they were unpacking the van to get ready for the next gig. So I ended up, without telling my mom or anybody where the hell I was, I went on basically a little mini tour with them for about 2 weeks. That was crazy. I mean, that's just one thing that comes off the top of my head. That was because I was thinking about it the other day. I was talking to somebody online. But craziest thing I ever did in the 80s. That'd be really hard to narrow down. Craziest thing Kathy Drew did was join the Army in 1979. Well, Kathy, thank you for your service. I appreciate it. Longbeard, I love alcohol. Okay, CBD oil helps me quit alcohol 5 years ago. Helped that and Xanax. That's cool. Kiki Mercer, I didn't exist in the 80s. You just skipped right over them. Or you see, 90s. You could have been born in the 90s, I guess. Maybe you're born in 1990. Then he would have missed the 80s. Because that'd be 10 years old, 2000, 20 years old, 2010. So yeah, you could have missed the 80s altogether. Cement shoes. I wish I had joined the military. Sometimes I feel guilty I didn't. Watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Cement Shoes, I have seen 365 times. I know just about every part of that stupid movie. And I did it because of a bet. Me and my friend, Brett, we used to love watching it. And my mom made a bet with me that the two of us could not watch it once every day for a year. And if we did, she would have the VHS tape itself. She'd have it bronzed, and then and then put on a plaque. And she did. We watched it 364 times, and she had it bronzed. And I've probably seen it once or twice since then. And that was in 1988, 89, somewhere there when she had it bronzed. The Breakfast Club. That's a good movie. That was what they called them. They weren't the Rat Pack. They were something. They called them something like that, though. The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink. I was always infatuated with Ducky. Not him as a person, a character in the movie, but his clothes. I always thought that was the coolest clothes. I have a suit jacket and tie in the house that is kind of it's close to what something that Ducky would have worn. Brat Pack. Yeah, Brat Pack. Thank you, Jamie. But you couldn't make movies like those anymore. That was what was, or were those all John Hughes movies, along with Uncle Buck? I'm thinking of John. For some reason, I'm thinking they're John Hughes movies, but I could be wrong. Anyone remember the first Walkman to come out? Oh yeah, I do. Well, what have you seen 365 times? The movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Thank you for the super chat, Kathy. No, I appreciate it. Anytime you want to jump in here and say, share with the community, you're more than welcome to do so, Kathy. I appreciate it. I have to check out the Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club, not clubs, club, singular. Oh, the days of Molly Ringwald. Ringworm? Ringwall. I know what you meant. Rat Pack is Sammy Davis Jr. Yeah. My dad was a pack of, he liked Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra. He always listened to Frank Sinatra when he came home from work. It was the first thing he always did was put Frank Sinatra on. I can still remember him sitting, on the couch. He had an, like I don't want to say it was an Easy Boy, but it was like a reclining chair. Might have been an Easy Boy. I don't remember, the brand of it, but he'd sit on the end of the couch with the little side table to his right. And my mom would bring him a cup of coffee, and me and my sisters would line up by the entrance to the living room. And he'd come in and he'd, kick off his shoes and put on his house slippers, and then he'd put Frank Sinatra on the big giant, console, stereo system. They had the 8-track player, the record player in it. He'd put Frank Sinatra on, and he'd listen to couple of songs while he listened. He drank his coffee, and we'd just sit there and wait. And once he was done with his coffee, then we could all rush in to see Dad. St. Elmo's Fire. That was a good movie. Kathy Drew. Yeah, I did it my way. Ferris is awesome. My kids all love these movies, Breakfast Club, and many more. Anyone see River's Edge? That's not ringing a bell for me, Cement Shoes. Carrie, that was a good one. Stephen King's Carrie, the original. That you can't go wrong with the original Carrie. Just watched Uncle Buck yesterday, did you, Sunny Sandy? I haven't seen it in years. St. Elmo's Fire. It's a good movie. They don't make a lot of movies like those anymore with good dialogue. Your son can recite the dialogue from Ferris Bueller. Kiki Mercer, I listened to Frank Sinatra. I discovered him in a music appreciation class and ordered 2 of his CDs. That's cool. Morning, Mr. Frosty. River's Edge rules. Early Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, and Christopher Glover. Oh, I'll have to watch that. Well, I'm going to write it down. The chances are that it's going to be an extremely long time before I ever do, if I do. If you guys had seen the stream that me and Tim did, where he made fun of me for all the different movies that I've never seen, just never been, a movie buff. "1986 Dennis Hopper, Keanu Reeves, based on a true story. Guy killed his girlfriend, then showed his friend her body." Oh. I remember my parents watching Lawrence Welk. Oh, I used to watch Lawrence Welk every weekend. Tiny Bubbles. When I was a kid, we always used to watch Mutual of Omaha, Wild Kingdom with Merlin. I can't remember the guy who did it before Merlin. Perkins. Was it Perkins? Well, either way, yeah, we used to watch Mutual Omaha's Wild Kingdom, Lawrence Welk, and then Gunsmoke. Yeah. Generally, I do not care for musicals. If you can push through the first 10 minutes, Rocket Man is a fantastic movie with really good music. Very well done. Leave It to Beaver. I used to be the same way about musicals. Go to an actual real live off Broadway play, a musical. And until I saw the first in person and actually saw Les Miserables done, with the actual really good acting in a musical score in a real theater off Broadway, cast do it, phenomenal. Fiddler on the Roof is another good one, and Cats, all great. The Death of a Salesman, it makes a difference between, those are plays, but Les Miserables, and some of the other ones, for musicals. Off-Broadway plays, the ones that are done correctly, with the real actors and real musical scores in a real theater, it will make a difference. I work, Hillary Jane. I work with profoundly special needs child. He's 14 years old and can name every car. Amazing. He is. That's cool. I mean, not that it's cool that you work with a special needs child. I know a friend of ours, we used to work, volunteer with a local nonprofit organization here in my area called the ARC. And they work with children, and young adults who are, not just autistic, but have other barriers, mental, learning disabilities to employment and living within their community. And we used to help them with social skills and being able to navigate the simplest things, like what does it take to actually go to the store and budget money and use your money and know what the money is and what the return is on it. Because so many of them, they never got these skills in school. They never teach them to any child, let alone those, with disabilities. But one of the kids that we knew there, Tommy could name every single movie where a certain car along that lines, but wherever a certain car was the main feature of the car, in the movie. Like, what was the name of the car? What kind of car was in Stephen King's movie? And you'd name the movie, and he would know exactly what car was the main feature in that movie. What car did Jack Nicholson, and them drive up to the Overlook, hotel? He knew exactly what car it was. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I've never seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the Broadway, off Broadway play, but Again, that is really cool that you do that though. Phantom of the Opera and Lion King in Seattle at the Paramount. That's cool. I've been to the Paramount to see concerts, but I never seen an off Broadway opera play there. Phantom of the Opera would be cool. I've never gotten to see that one though. So the musical Buddy Holly story in London when it came out, it was incredible. That's cool. Bye, Longbeard. You have a good day. Go shopping for a barbecue tonight. Ooh, what time's dinner? What do you think about Micah Stauffer issue? Queen C? I'm drawing a blank on that. I don't know what the Micah Stauffer issue is. You'll have to remind me, sweetheart. I do not know that. It's not coming to my head. Sonny Sandy is a Gunsmoke addict. That was a great show, Gunsmoke. Just wondering your take on the Michael. I'm drawing a blank on it, Queen C. I'm sorry. Been working since I was 23, now 58. Love it. That's cool. Chicago. Unbelievable. My neighbor is autistic and can tell you what day of the week your birthday is in every year. You ask him. You sure he's autistic? I mean, I know a lot of children who are autistic, but they're different variants to the spectrum disorder. I think a lot of people just kind of group it together, and it's like, okay, they're autistic, when he could be more towards one end or the other. But it's kind of cool that how the mind can work like that, though. Long day's journey into night. Saw it in the theater in the round. Oh, wow. I wasn't aware of that. I'm sorry. That sucks. The YouTuber who adopted a little boy with special needs and then gave him away. Why? I don't. I'm not familiar with the situation, but I'd have to ask, why the hell would you do that? I mean, unless it was a temporary fostering situation and then had to do it, but uh, still, why? Why would you do that? Why would you take on a special needs child in the first place? Unless you have the desire and the love and the compassion for that child. Right off the bat they need more help than a normal child. They rehomed him as they couldn't cope with him. How did somebody get into that situation in the first place? Somebody definitely dropped the ball in that situation. You can't just go and adopt a child and not be well aware of what this child is going to need. And that really sucks. Anybody would ever do something like that. But then again, I'm not abreast of the entire situation, that took place there. So maybe there's more to it than that. Maybe their circumstances changed and it led to their inability to be able to care for the child. I don't know. But from what limited information I have here from this, I don't think I don't know how anybody could ever get into something like that. It was for her kid's safety, and then I believe he got to be violent to the newborn. I'm sorry. Um, Yeah, I'm with you there, Cement Shoes. You shouldn't have taken them in the first place. I mean, people have good intentions, but a fly. Okay, well, like I said, Queen C, I'm not really abreast of this situation or know what happened. Micah did it to grow her YouTube channel. I don't know. I'm not up to speed on any of this. Maybe if to say T said she couldn't handle being a stepmom, Gannon would be alive. I feel so sorry for Gannon. Didn't they just find like a jawbone or something that I think they proved it was remains from Gannon. I read something, a blip across that came across this, the information on the kind of like a news ticker that I saw. Michelle will be right back. Jawbone and molars. Yeah. I saw something about that. It came across. I have a program that I run in the background it searches out keywords in news articles. Then it's always like giving me updates. I still have to figure out how to turn this stupid Facebook thing off. So it'll stop, twing with the new message, every time well, it doesn't tell me when somebody posts. It just tells me when there's a life event, like my uncle's birthday, like earlier today. They have over 700,000 subscribers now. Mommy's Ramblings did a good video on it. I'll have to. Evelyn, good morning. I hope you are doing well. But I haven't been over to Mommy's Ramblings or just about anybody's YouTube page to watch any videos in the last week. Hey, good morning, Seattle Crime Gal. How are you doing this morning? Welcome to the stream. Blue Mermaid, I turned off notifications on Facebook. But I still get every once in a while, I get those notices whenever there's a life event, like somebody's birthday or when something, is happening, like a news, alert on Facebook, like something comes up live and they're broadcasting to just Facebook. And even with all notifications turned off, I still get those every once in a while. Normally they go into my email inbox, but there's got to be an additional setting that I'm missing, or it's something else that I have turned on. I'm so sick of Facebook. I'm doing great, Seattle Crime Gal. Doing great. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, Queen C. Try to fix him and his issues. And you may not be able to fix, his issues. And do you really need to fix them, or find ways to make them that so they're not as destructive or as an interruption within your life? And again, I don't know. I don't know the situation. Blue Mermaid, what is my favorite movie of all time? It's a good question. Let's see. Favorite movie of all time. I don't know if I have a favorite movie, that I can say that that fits all genres. I probably have like a favorite horror movie, a favorite documentary, a favorite comedy. I probably have one in every one. Um, to pick one overall everything, that would be really hard to be able to do. Let's see. Drama. Let's start with drama. Favorite drama. Um, I'm gonna have to go with for my favorite drama. Well, I mean, well, and then I don't. I feel like I have to preface it to why it's my favorite. But so there are movies that I really like that have a story behind them that and or a story that they're trying to tell that maybe is easily discarded by mainstream society, the general population. They're not understanding, they're not thinking about the movie, and the story and open context of what it is really about. Now, with that said, favorite drama, um, I really liked Brokeback Mountain and the story of what they were trying to actually express there. The love and support and the up and down turmoil of a love story that couldn't be shared with society because they knew they wouldn't be accepted by the world around them. I mean, there's more to the movie than just Heath Ledger, and and them, the two cowboys, who are gay lovers. There's more to it than just that. You have to look at the entire story itself to get a broader picture of it. Favorite comedy? I'm gonna go with the original Beetlejuice movie. Really liked that one. Um, Horror, nothing beats the original Halloween. But although I will say that Rob Zombie did a damn good version of remake of Halloween, and I really liked Rob Zombie's version of it because it followed more of the original storyline of the um, the Blues Brothers. Is that what you meant, Emily? Blues Brothers is a good movie. Can't go wrong with that. Ooh, Fatal Attraction. There's a good one. Faulty Towers. Be right back. Great movie. Caroline loves horror movies. Selena, Queen C, that is a damn good movie and a freaking tragedy. I still can't believe that happened. That is just well, it's kind of like Marvin Gaye. If you've ever seen the documentary of Marvin Gaye, and what happened to Marvin, it's just unbelievable. You'd be like, why didn't nobody interrupt this entire thing? All it took was one. It could take one person, just one person, and it could have, the entire both of those tragedies would have been completely averted. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. I believe that's the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Was 74, wasn't it? Let's see. I gotta think about this. Love story. Don't know. Kind of caught between two. I don't. I wouldn't call that. That's more of a drama. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck on that one. Only Fools and Horses, my best comedy. You're writing them down, Kiki. You want to watch a good drama, older movie, is The Champ. Jeepers Creepers Part 1. There you go. That was a good one. Anyone see MS-45? It doesn't ring a bell with me, Cement Shoes. Yes, so sad that those situations happen. I think we'd know where Tylee and JJ are if people would have spoken up. I don't know, Emily. I don't know. I don't think that at that time, when everything was going on, I don't think that there was anyone who would have spoken up, and nor would anybody have been able to stop the progression of where everything is going. And it's still not over with. I don't think it's anywhere near, even if Lori and Chad are both convicted and go to jail, okay, forever. Let's just say that they both get life sentences, which neither one of them have life sentences standing in front of them unless they can prove that they actually did harm to the children. Even if they are gone, what we don't know about the Lori Vallow story, in which is the most interesting part to me, and where I keep on digging into and trying to find some kind of documentation and support behind, is what is the main group? We know there were more people, because even if we just take Melanie Gibb, if we just take her public statements about the group itself. Well, first, I wouldn't call this a group, and then over and over again in the same interview, she called them a group. But there's a lot of what she has to say I have issues with. But even if we take what she has to say, when Lori was living in Gilbert, Arizona, there was a large group of people who were meeting in her home just for religious study. That's actually been something that people have who've come and gone from the group have talked about a lot. And her bishop actually spoke about not the one for Gilbert, Arizona, but a former bishop of hers spoke about, was because she was bringing people. They go to services to the church, and then they come to her house, and then they would study for 4 or 5 hours a night, just studying the scripture and her beliefs and her interpretation of it. And even Melanie Gibbs in her interview said that that's where this was not in the scope of what they were being taught, or what they studied in the LDS church. That what Lori was doing was outside of that. So there are people out there. So again, if Lori and Chad go to prison forever, let's just hypothetically say that happens. I think that there are people who are still around right now, who are still teaching the same things. They're just going to pick up right where Lori left off. Just like what happened, with the Branch Davidians in Waco, Texas, after most of them were annihilated, and they died, and David Koresh died in a fiery blaze. There were people who picked up the same scripture and the same teachings, and they just moved on to another location. Just like the People's Church, and Jim Jones. Most of his followers went down, to there and died, by drinking cyanide-laced Flavor Aid Kool-Aid. But not all of them did. A lot of them stayed in California. A lot of them stayed in the Midwest, and they just picked up and started teaching what they were doing once Jim Jones was gone. And there are people, and this happens over and over and over again. It's an endless circle. So even though people know that these are dangerous scriptures and beliefs, someone's going to pick it up and run with it. And a year from now, 5 years from now, we might end up with another situation just like Lori Vallow. Hillary Jane, you hate what the Germans did. It makes you cry. Should make the entire world cry what the Germans did. Oh yeah. Epic Gamer. Justice for George Foreman. What happened to George Foreman? Did somebody, break his grill? Or are we talking? Oh, you mean George Floyd? Yeah, I mean, we I think the whole world knows who George Floyd is right now. And okay, Mom, I'm sorry if I missed you before, but welcome to the stream. I don't know how much longer I'm going to make it here myself because my throat is really starting to bother me. Korean Tishans moved onto Wayne Bent cult in New Mexico. Spent 10 years. Yeah. Sex with teens. And it's getting that time. The Chihuahuas are outside barking. I'm going to start my own Netflix television show. I mean, everybody wants to tune in and watch the Tiger King. I'm going to start my own, wildlife show in my backyard with all the dogs that I have in my house. The Chihuahuas, and then my wife's friends, 2 little dogs. I don't know what the hell they are. And then my 3 deaf and blind dogs. Then they got 2 cats. Oh, thank you, Blue. Miserable right now. My eyes. Sunny Sandy, you read The Diary of Anne Frank in school? I think people should read it now, not just in high school. Diary of Anne Frank is a good book. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to end this stream here. I hope everyone has a safe and wonderful rest of your weekend. I do. Seattle crime gal. I do. I definitely need a nap. Nap and some hot tea and lemon with a little bit of honey mixed in. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Until next time. Thank you, everyone, who sent me the super chats. I appreciate it. But short, nice. I didn't see you before. Been listening, huh? All right. Stay safe out there, everyone.